Oh, na, na, na. It's only love in the ladies' room. It's love in the room. It's love in the room. Well, if it in her loving tongue, baby, it's love in the room. Don't whine on me here, lady. It's love in the room. If he wanna fight and stray, it's love in the room. We playing with house Monday in the ladies' room. Don't worry, us. She said, you're giving topic to Aruna. Study your place. Your woman outside with cousin whole day. You can't see his face. The story end up on ladies' room. You disappear without trace. Voila. If all she know is papi show and stress outside, is love in the room. If you wanna have to girl, take care, they bust the files. Well, if it's in her loving tongue, baby, it's love in the room. Don't whine on me here, lady. It's love in the room. If he wanna fight and stray, it's love in the room. We playing with house Monday in the ladies' room.
Well, we're back in the room, the ladies' room. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another show. It is Wednesday, September 10th, and of course, it is also World Suicide Day, no ordinary day, and I'll tell you a little bit more in case you missed my piece on it. Welcome back to the room. Thank you so very much, Nirvana Span Detox, Beacon Insurance, and the Western Union for powering up our morning. Hold on, let me just send this. Yes, all right, there we go. So if you're listening to us via radio, good morning. If you're listening 95.1, 95.3, top of the morning to ya. And if you are viewing on YouTube or Facebook, thank you so very much. Shout out to my YouTubers. Welcome back to the show. And we've got a very interesting program ahead of us this morning, and I would beg your indulgence as per usual. Yeah. Hold on. You can always wait until I go live. ERT. Okay. Yeah. So as I was saying, we have a very interesting program ahead of us this morning, and I really, really love if the parents, the guardians, well, teachers are probably in the classroom now, but sometimes they take a little chance and listen. If they would chime in on this conversation that's making, the rounds around the Caribbean, and we are not immune to it, and it is actually something that schools are dealing with, among other things. So I would love if you guys could give your take on it. But let me be clear. I want somebody to be against it. Yeah, I mean, you could be for, but I want to do the for route. So we're having like a sort of debate. I'm for, you're against. And I'm sure you saw the heading. And I'm for, I'm going to play the video as well, so you have a better understanding if you have not been following my page or listening. So I would love if you can add your voice to the conversation. I've posted it on my Facebook page. And you guys have been doing an awesome job so far. Listen, I know we had it in us, but sometimes you have to question yourself. But I guess it's based on the conversation that's on social media. It doesn't necessarily require people to think much. People just go off with the fingers and not go in depth. And I'm really, really, happy to see some of the in-depth responses. People are not just saying, yes, I agree, but they're giving the reasons why they agree or the reasons why they disagree on the topic at hand. And they're giving, they're giving enough World Suicide Prevention deals with world proof. Yeah, thank you so much, Kenroy. Yeah. I guess in my thing to share it, I didn't give the correct info, but yeah, that's what it is. World Suicide Prevention Day. Thank you so much. Appreciate you always. So yeah, I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But first, let me just greet you guys properly. Hold on. And okay, so now I have that out of the way. You guys have my undivided attention. The prodigal son is listening. Okay, great. So yeah, so we have Shantae as always. Good morning. Welcome. Carol been here from since 10:29 on YouTube. Good morning, Marianne. Good morning, Lisa. Lisa, you were missing in the office jams this morning. I hope you're well. Good morning, Nissy. Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Kendra. Terrace, good morning. Clarina, good morning. Unison, good morning. Who else is here with us? Queen Bee, good morning. Abigail, Elon, Rita, Randall, Amadi, good morning. Shirley Japal, how are you? Good morning, Shauna Dakota. Good morning, Amanda Redhead. Hermelin is here. Marvelin is here. Nikisha is here. Who else is here? Rachel is here. Precious Jewel is here. Sonia Raymond Nelson. Good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Jackie Chaitan. Terrence Wells. Good morning. Jenny Coutain is also here. Terry Alexander inside the deep fridge. Is it cool where you are already? Debbie Crony. That's the last time I called in your name for the weekend. Because the last time I checked, I got the memo that you're supposed to call me. And I'm awaiting your call. You get nice wherever you're there up in the boondocks. You just disconnect. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're coming back. Morning, Tamasha. Hey, Denise. Good morning. Chantal. Good morning, my love. Children of the Corn. What mother of the corn. Morning, Kadisha. Welcome aboard. Those of you viewing on YouTube. Rajesh, Maria, Ambika Ventu. Good morning. Who else is here? Jackie Douglas Adams. Good morning. Blessed Wednesday, Jacqueline. I hope you're well. I'm for Boise coming back in Sokomona. Hey, Janelle. Good morning. Carla. Good morning, Lydia. Hope you're good. Morning, Andre. Nisha Williams. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Peter Joseph. Shawnee. Good morning. Kem. Good morning. Glenn Andrew Mark. Good morning. Hey, Brent. Welcome to the room. Darren Lang. Welcome to the room. And everybody else. I give up. I'm on. Morning, Kareem. Morning, Kata. Andrea, welcome. Shout out to, who's it? Rosa. Preston, good morning. Preston, you're a man of many hats. I never see a man hurt so much. You and Salvanders remind me of one another. Y'all, listen, but anyways, Preston, I said I had to tell you that I was looking at the third night for Michael Blaze Robinson last evening, and yourself and the other folks did a really nice job, the music and the song at the third night. Well done. Songs were very much in keeping with the mood, and it was a good vibe, and I mean I spent some time with Janelle, and I think this is like the first time second time I've gotten close to somebody who experienced that firsthand. And boy, how do people do it? How do you grieve? How do you say goodbye to someone? I've been to funerals, but it's always like a family, a relative, but not for somebody close where you see people to the point of being broken, and they're in pieces, and they don't know what and how tomorrow what will it would look like. I've never ever experienced that. I know the day is gonna come, but oh my God, I don't think we're ever ready. So again, I want to extend condolences to Janelle, her family, his kids, his pan children, and everybody that he came into contact with. From all reports, it was a good connection, and shout out to the parliamentary reps, Honorable Peter David, Peter David, and Claudette Joseph. Saw her as well, and they really gave a good good speech in his third night. Selvan say, Preston, tell them what? Tell them in the Catholic Church you learn to sing. So you not wait there. You just boy. Hey Shamira, good morning. Gabby, good morning. Says I spent 4 days watching my best friend die. Saddest thing ever. No, it's a hard man. Yeah, you sing nice. No, you handle. Yeah, you definitely handle. Hey Drea, good morning. Good morning, Drea. But Drea, you are mother of a daughter, so I'd love to get your feedback as well as the other mothers in the house and how you guys feel on the topic at hand. And also, I just want to remind you guys that today is World Suicide Prevention Day. Yeah? And it is a day dedicated to raising awareness about suicide and its impact on individuals, families, and communities, promoting hope by reminding people that help is available and recovery is possible, and also encouraging open conversations to break the stigma around mental health and suicidal thoughts. Yeah? Also, supporting those in need by reminding them they are not alone. And the 2025 theme set by the International Association for Suicide Prevention is changing the narrative around suicide. It's a call basically to shift from silence, shame, and misunderstanding toward compassion, toward understanding and prevention. So today, on World Suicide Prevention Day, let's stand together to spread hope, to break the stigma, and remind each other that every life matters. Yeah? So I just wanted to share that with you. So in your goings and comings today, don't forget to spare a thought, or maybe you can make a post or share a post regarding World Suicide Prevention Day, and just giving somebody some hope today. You never know who's reading, who might need to hear it. You never know. But it wouldn't hurt to just put something on your wall to encourage somebody along the way today if they may be feeling alone or depressed, to let them know that they are not and that every life matters. Okay? Alrighty, so we move. You never know them Baptists to be able to sing. That is the kind of church that have regulations. Everybody singing alto, soprano, and Salvan, have a wonderful day. Getting back to the meat of the matter. So now this video circulating on social media, and it's making the rounds, like I said, around the Caribbean regarding a new rule that a school in Jamaica brought to the public. Let me play the video, and then I'll start with my take on it. And of course, I would love if you guys could chime in as well.
St. Andrew High School for Girls just shook things up with a bold new grooming rule. No edges allowed. Their official line? Hairstyles must be neat and school-ready. And in their words, curtains belong in the house, not on foreheads. The school says it's about discipline and upholding tradition, but not everyone is clapping. Some argue it unfairly polices personal expression, especially when it comes to Black hairstyles, while others feel it's simply about keeping things uniform and focused on learning. This isn't an isolated debate either. Jamaica's draft student dress and grooming policy urges schools to have clear, fair rules that respect culture, and we've already seen lockouts over grooming sparked heated discussions. Even the education minister has weighed in, saying school isn't a fashion show, but balance is key. So what do you think? Are edges just a style for the weekend, or a harmless flair for the classroom? Is this rule a step toward discipline or a step too far? Share your thoughts below. We want to hear both sides.
Cut me talking all the time on my mic off. Ah, boy, when it's not Debbie's Jackie that has come and stressed me out. Okay, so the radio people heard, but let me just quickly repeat. Happy birthday to Dejan Crony, celebrating his birthday today. And I want to wish you a happy, happy, happy celebration from your mom, Debbie, sister Kayla, wife, everybody, entire home circle, everybody who knows you. Happy birthday. Like I said, Virgos are really, really nice people. Now you understand why you're so cool and, you're a Virgo. Yeah, Virgos are nice people. I'm not going to dispute that. Virgos are really, really cool people. So if you have a Virgo on your team, trust me, you have a good one. So happy birthday again to you, Dijon. More life, more blessings. Y'all should be hearing me now. I'm good. I am muted. You should be good now. All right, good. So the topic at hand is the issue of the edges. And like I said, it's generating a lot of conversation for as well as against. And I would love to know, what going on here? I would love to know where you stand, if you're on the for team or you're on the against team. I am on the for team. And let me tell you why. And it's not because, you weren't young once. I was, and I remember going to school and going to convent, we always had strict rules. Skirts had to be a certain length below the knee. Tie had to be a certain inches above the skirt waist. Your seams on your shirt, your pleats have to be a certain amount of inches, and your socks have to be a certain length. Shoes always white. No colored bags, no marking on bags. And you went into the school, you were given the rules, and you basically had to follow them. We had prefects who would inspect, of course, your state, and then, let you know if you're in accordance or you're whatever. But at the end of the day, we always tried to find ways around it. They also had strict rules where your hair was concerned. It was always a case of must be neatly groomed. They never said, okay, what style to put it in, but it was always must be neatly groomed. And those who went to convent can bear witness on this. Must be neatly groomed, no hair in your face, no hair pat down and no bob and all of those things, no distractions around your face, should be clear from your face. But when we just entered convent, from 1 to say about 3, we were on the book. We followed everything to a T. And as you start going up in form, you started looking at little loopholes. And then I remember we started coming up with muff. Y'all calling it bang now. According to Rudy and Kurt, Haiti people calling it bang. In our days, we call it muff. You had a muff on your head. So as we started getting inching closer to Form 5, we started doing, trying to, find our way to get around the laws, get around the rules. And we would put our hair up and had a little muff. And another thing we used to do, when we went to the lab, we found out that if we put hydrogen peroxide in our hair and stand in the sun, your hair would start to get brown. So that was the other thing we started doing. Going in the lab, taking the people hydrogen peroxide, wetting our hair, and staying in the sun and watching our hair change color, and then saying, it's happening naturally. That and the muff. The muff started coming in, and after a while, some muff started to get outrageous. And then, of course, they're going to pull you up, your muff all over your eye. You could barely see your eyebrow. And you were told, remove hair from your face. Yeah? That is what we grew up with. No muff in your face. And yeah, they searched the hall for uniforms, and you had to lift up your skirt. You must have on, how you used to call it back in the day, a half a slip. Now people get thing with tights, but in our days was half a slip. You have on your half a slip under your skirt, and that was a must. Or a black tights. You could not just pull up your skirt on you and up in the classroom. Nope. You had to lift your skirt to show that you're wearing your half a slip or you're wearing your tight. Look, what are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to be somewhere else. Anyway, and I'm trying to read some of the comments, so let me not get distracted. So yeah, so we all had rules that we used, that we had to pay attention to, and we were guided by, and they were very, very strict about it. They enforced the rules. You couldn't just show up to school with no hairstyle. You know, when we used to put with little sponge collars to get with little muff to thing, and we didn't have, only when you graduated, you got to like perm your hair, or you went higher up in form. For the most part, the majority of us, we had our natural hair. And you know that natural hair ain't staying no matter. So our thing was, our parents ain't spending no money on no gel. Grease and water. You pack the grease in it, and then you wet it, and you brush it, and you hold it there. And then you tie it tight to stay. But you have your little brush in your bag and your little grease in your bag, and you're wetting and brushing whole day to keep it and keep the curls intact. Those who had a little money, you know, when people, parents, you didn't have to know who had a little money in school and who didn't. Because those who had a little money, they started coming with jerry curls. And then they started getting upset with the wet jerry curls, because the wet jerry curls dripping on their shirt. And then that posed a problem. So the jerry curl thingy was for those who had a little money, because jerry curl was like $100 going on, and no parent is spending no $100 to jerry curl your hair back in the day. You either get an iron comb, that's what we knew. We didn't have no electric flat iron. Iron comb, you put on the coal pot, you put it on the stove. Sunday, before you're preparing yourself for school, you pass it in your hair to take out some of the grain, to take out some of the, you know, the hardness. And then for the rest of the week is grease and water. So all of that, and for the most part, the emphasis was on education, right? It was on values, it was on raising proper young ladies and all of that, and less to do with our hair. We tried things with our hair, we experimented, but a lot of the focus wasn't so much on your hair. We didn't spend hours in front mirror, you know, trying to put edge and making this little snake thing. I see they putting up in front the edges now. Yeah, Nawasa gel, that's what we knew. Nawasa gel. We know nothing about no gel. And a situation, and give me a situation, and call it you call the iron a hot iron comb. That's what we did. And then later on, when, like I said, we started moving up in form, and you're getting your little money, we started buying TCB and perming our hair for ourselves. And that is why a lot of people up to this day, their hair can't catch itself, because y'all turn hairdresser, perming your hair, straightening hair for yourself, going and buy TCB. TCB back in the day was $10. So you do your own hair. You leave it, because you want your hair to be so straight. You have TCB in your hair for hours, burning your scalp. You don't care if your scalp on fire, but you want to make sure your hair straight. And then when you finally rinse it out, you can't comb your hair for days, because it's one amount of scab and bump in your head because you left it too long and it burned up your scalp. So all of that, we experience it, we understand, but it wasn't extreme to the point where now you have students, and I've seen my niece when she used to go to school, and sometimes, and I'm like, Q, what you doing in the bathroom so long? Oh, I was in the bathroom to make this little, far as I'm concerned, where does baby hair thing come from? Baby hair ain't supposed to be for babies. When you see the nice little natural soft curls to the front, if you have to force your hair into a form, how is that baby hair? You're taking all of your hair from behind your head, bring it to the front of your head, and put some little curly thing and call it. How is that baby hair? An edge. Baby hair is supposed to be those little right to the front, that is natural, right to the front here. You see, like here, natural. You don't have to put no sort of pressure on it for it to curl. It's supposed to curl naturally. Baby is supposed to have baby hair. But we came up with this thing about edge and baby hair, and everybody taking hair from the middle of the head and put it to the front, and they calling it baby hair. That's not baby hair. And doing edges. So we experience all of that. But my thing is, Romeo, morning. You and your wife here giving trouble as usual. Morning, Salisha. My sister here got something and couldn't grow up. No, I'm telling you. So we understand all of that. But the question now is it too extreme? Because I'm seeing people saying, oh, school is about learning, so they don't know why it's a big deal. They've never seen or heard of, hair posing a problem. But let me tell you why I'm for it. Because as far as I'm concerned, schools are about discipline and not fashion. The primary role of a school is to provide education, discipline, and structure. And to me, when personal grooming trends like styling edges become a distraction or competition among students, it shifts the focus away from learning and into who looks best. A hairstyle should never overshadow academic goals. And as far as I'm concerned, schools often set dress codes and grooming standards to create a level playing field. If one student is allowed elaborate edges, others may feel pressured to keep up, sometimes at a cost their families cannot even afford. Uniform standards help avoid unnecessary peer pressure, bullying, or inequality. At least that's how I see it. Like I said, we're having a conversation. You're open to disagree, having a debate on the topic. Everybody don't have to agree. But I'm just saying, there are some that are extreme. I see some students, and you can see making edges and creating baby hair takes time. I don't care what nobody says. Like I said, I saw my niece, and I had to literally knock the bathroom door. What you doing in the bathroom so long? Doing edges. It takes time because you have to form it, then take another one, take a comb and form another one, and you have to make sure it dries so it stay on your head and it well stiff and would not move. So it definitely takes time. My thing is, boundaries prepare students for the real world. And I am seeing people saying, oh, well, if they're banning it for the students, teachers should be banned as. I'm like, because last time I checked, the teachers are the adults. Your students are the children. The teachers have already did their due. They've already studied. They've already gotten their degrees. They're now adults, adulting, earning a salary. And even then, they are still, teachers just can't show up in classroom with a little piece of short skirt riding up their behind and tight thing and showing this, that, and the other. There are still guidelines they have to abide by. But making reference to a teacher's hair, saying a teacher shouldn't perm their hair, shouldn't color their hair, shouldn't wear wig, shouldn't wear, because they should be leading by example. No. Teacher is adult, student is child. There must be clear boundaries. We are not one on the same. And that is why some people have problems with their children, because everybody wants to be on the same playing field. No, we're not. Who is the parent? Who is the child? So because the parent decide, okay, I'm going to cut my hair, you can't because your child might see you. No, there must be boundaries, and children should be made to understand there are boundaries. And you are a child and I am the adult. At some point, you're going to get to a point where you can make your own decisions without having to worry about, okay, how my parent feel or whatever the case might be. Because boundaries prepare students for the real world. In many professional environments, a parent's guidelines exist, whether in hospitality, whether in aviation, whether in law, or even business offices. Look, you're going up in the zoo, to go up in the botanical garden, and they don't want you to come inside there with armless. You can't go inside there with sleeveless. You can't go inside there with short pants or slippers dragging in your foot. You have to be clad appropriately. Whether we agree, we don't like it, you cannot enter the building if you're wearing sleeveless clothing, short pants, clothes with holes. You cannot enter the ministerial complex. So my thing is, by enforcing simple, neat, and distraction-free grooming rules, schools are preparing students for environments where discipline, presentation, and following rules are essential. Because if you don't prepare them from now, when they get to that place, how you want to prepare them? How are they going to be ready? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm accustomed doing what I want, how I want, when I want. And just to reiterate on the point that I made, that teachers versus students, they're not the same. Teachers versus students are not the same. Parents, and I've seen some of you arguing that teachers should also be restricted, but teachers are adults. They've already passed through their formative stage. They represent authority, not peers. Students, on the other hand, are still being shaped. Rules for students aren't meant to punish, but as far as I'm concerned, to train and to guide. And if you have parents feeling a way that the schools are trying to train and guide their children are spending their whole life in classroom, What happened when they transition from classroom to real world? That is why so many cannot deal with the real world, because we butter them up and we soften them through all their years, and then we throw them out into the world, and then they're like a fish out of water. They don't know how to cope. To me, it's about focus and not suppression, because we're saying people are talking about suppressing because they're free to do it at home. They're free to do it on the weekends. They have school holidays. You could free up. You could do that then. The school is not banning hairstyles entirely. To me, it's setting boundaries to keep the focus on academics, character, and discipline. Students can still express themselves in other ways, but school hours to me are for learning and not fashion shows. Caller, you can call back. I'm sorry. I didn't see the call. All right. Morning.
Morning, Aruna.
How you go?
I did it. You know what? And so let me be the devil's advocate. As a former security guard who worked at a school, now, listen, I have no problem with rules and regulations for students. But children learn by what they see. And I am giving you my experience for what I have seen in schools. Listen to me. You have these young teachers nowadays who are maybe 5 to 10 years, not even all that, older than the students. And the way you see them dressed to come to school, you will wonder, where are they going? They can't stretch the foot longer than 2 inches. They cannot bend over if something falls from them. They're making sure that the top has enough cleavage. Now you in front of a class and you have male students. What are they learning? What are they learning? Now we go into the male teachers. Their pants tight like if they did in the circus, with this big bulge in front of them. And the shirt is extra tight, like they're in a muscle competition. Now, as a male teacher, you have female students in your classroom. What are they learning? So you see, we have to start. Now I understand adults is adults and children have to, but we have to start at the top. Whenever we want to make rules, start at the top. Because like I said earlier, children learn by what they see. Listen to me, I used to be in a school and I'm hearing those boys and them after class. Boy, you don't see Miss today, boy. Boy, you see all that thing cutting she bottom day? And you don't see thing, boy? Yeah, boy, she changed your bra today, boy. Those are the conversations that was being taking place. So let me stick a pin for a minute and start putting so much pressure on the youth. I'm not saying that they are right. But let me stick a pin for a minute and stop putting so much pressure on the youth and deal with the major problem, which is the adults who are teaching those students now to go into the real world. Now, is that what you want them to how you want them to dress when they get into the job market? I don't think so. So it's not only about the education, about the books. No. We have to teach them morals, we have to teach them values, and we have to teach them to have respect for themselves. And then we could talk about the hair and whatever. Charity begins at home.
Gotcha.
My point.
Thank you. All right. Like I said, I'm open to different views, so feel free. 44095. What's your number again? I never remember the number when I need it to know. 4409595. What's the number again? It's like I always lose it when I anytime I need to call it out, and anytime I pay attention to calling it out. Terrence, I get your point, and well taken, but it's across the board. But at this point, we are focusing on the students and what is happening in the classroom. But I take 4409595. Yeah, you can send your voice notes, or you can call the same number 4409595 and give your views. I can't keep up with the comments because they're moving so fast. But the conversation this morning is around: should schools control students' hairstyles, or should kids be free to express themselves? Should schools control students' hairstyles, or should kids be free to express themselves? Like I said, I am for schools having guidelines in place. You have all the time in the world. You have the weekends, you have vacation, and I know that is something parents usually do when school's out. They would put their children here in braids, and I have no problem with that. Braid their hair for the summer vacation, and they'll give them a little leeway to experiment. They'll put polish on their nails, they'll put polish on their toes, and they'll do things. But when it's time to return to the classroom, you should be a school child, and you should look as a school child. Imagine, and then we're talking about protecting our children from pedophiles and molesters and what have you. But we okay to them presenting themselves with hairstyles that look like adults. A lot of hours spent putting baby hair and edge and all sorts of things. And you have our young girls out there looking forthright before their time, because the focus is on how they look, their appearance, than what the school dictates should work for them. Person said that them children express themselves in English comprehension. Clarina says, in my days, Grenada Seventh-day Adventist Grenada Seventh-day Adventist school, we couldn't wear braids, extension, nails, makeup, etc. I survived. I turned out well. Luke says there needs to be rules, but where do you draw the line? Hairstyles, bags, shoes, sneakers, etc. Now it's curtains. Next it will be braids, locks for girls, etc. Long hair for boys, etc. Well, I guess we're taking it one day at a time, yeah? Because there are some schools, like I mentioned, St. Joseph's Convent in Andrew, which I attended, you couldn't wear certain styles. You couldn't have certain bags, certain colors. The color should be black or blue, navy blue or black. Your shoe, your sneakers, white. No markings, no nothing, no colors, no nothing on it. And for the most part, when you went into the school to orientation, all of this was handed down to the parents. So it's not a case of you went and you didn't know, and you went in doing your own thing, and later on they tried to enforce it. You went in understanding these are the rules. So if for whatever reason you don't think you could, as a parent, or you don't want your child to take on these rules, you had a choice to go elsewhere or take your child and homeschool your child or whatever you wanted to do. But rules are there for a reason. And if we don't instill that in our children from young, it makes it hard for them to when it's time for the real world, for them to, hold on, let me take a call there from. Morning, neighbor.
Morning, neighbor. Morning. Listen, back in our time, in the Anglican high school, we used to have to wear half sleep. I sure in a half sleep selling no way now.
Okay, remember last time I see a half sleep.
But they used to line us up every morning and come and check for the said half sleep. Today, it in a half sleep selling no way. The half sleep and make us more dense, it didn't make us more bright. But you knew that there was a rule that you had to follow. Back then, I thought the half sleep was pointless. I still think that the half sleep is pointless, but we had to have the half sleep. There are things that are going to come up all the time. today is baby hair, next year it's gonna be something else. It's always gonna have things that are gonna come up that are distractions to the children. Some schools, I remember when we were in Anglican High School, I believe Happy Hill did not have to wear slip. And a lot of us used to be like, oh, Happy Hill don't have to wear slip. Why we have to wear slip? And the prefect could come and send you up on the veranda once you have on your slip because you're going to Anglican High School. You're not going to Happy Hill Secondary School. So wherever you go, there will be rules and regulations. As the time go about, different things will become a topic of conversation because as we know, every time, like a hairstyle gonna change. Next year is gonna be something else. I think as parents, we always have to be mindful in telling our kids to follow the rules. Because guess what? The educators are in charge. We are not the educators. We don't know what the principal and teachers are facing in terms of how they police these kids. Maybe the kids in the bathroom all afternoon fixing their hair when they should be in class. We don't. If they found the need to ban it, it is because it's causing a problem to the learning environment. So if something is causing a problem to the learning environment, they get rid of it. Of course, it's not a big deal. People should be able to express themselves. However, but time and place for everything. You have to know how to behave in certain environments. And a lot of us as adults, we don't know how to conduct ourselves when we are in certain environments. Some of all you gone to a funeral, the pastor preaching or whatever, giving the sermon and all you're talking, all you don't know how to behave. And then the kids go about doing the same thing. If it's a hindrance to the educational environment, they get rid of it. It's not a big deal. What's so wrong about putting your baby here on the weekend or putting your baby here during the summer? You know how much of us used to look for
you get a little braids,
paint
your nails and
things. Put even the beads, the hair beads.
The beads, yes, and put a little foil paper in the foil at the end of it to hold your beads intact. That was a carnival style. You look forward to your braids and beads.
I feel like if these are things that kids should get the opportunity to look forward to instead of every day, everything for every day, then there's no boundaries, there's no nothing. So to me, it's like it's not a big deal. It's obviously it's up to you.
Gotcha.
But obviously, if a school has to ban it, it's because it's causing an issue. They wouldn't just get up and just ban it just so if it was not being problematic in the learning environment.
Agreed.
Ollie, have a blessed day.
Have a good one. Thanks so much, God.
All right.
Yeah. So you see that time and place. You know, Gabby know when to come and talk sharpness and make us laugh, and then she knows. So you see time and place. So that goes across the board, not only for young people, but for adults as well. We know when to put on the kiki, and we know when to put on the let's talk seriously. Let's have the serious conversation. Yeah. Hold on. Let me play this one here before we go. Hold on here.
I like to say some things, but I don't want to say much. I'm not a big talker, but it's very simple, These things are, to me, are basic stuff, right? You want your kids to grow the way they should go, right? Parents are trying their best. Some not seeing it as a big deal. So the school is supposed to be a learning center, right? Not kids just doing what they want or putting their hairstyle what they want. But you see that system and the universe and the way things are going nowadays have a lot to do with the way things going. And it's really sad. And trust me, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but by right, kids have to go with rules and grow up the right way so that they will not depart from it and understand in the late run and time to come. But trust me, it's difficult, but we cannot give up on them. Wow.
Got you. Thanks so much. Yeah, I always like when the men chime in and, add their voice to the conversation. My final thing is, at the end of the day, which is night, it's about focus, like I said, and not suppression. Yeah? The school is not about banning hairstyles entirely, it's about setting boundaries to keep the focus on academics, character, and discipline. Students can still express themselves in other ways, but school hours are for learning, not fashion shows. Schools have a duty to shape future leaders. And if parents and students can't respect grooming standards in school, how will they respect workplace standards later? Rules may not always feel fair. Nobody likes rules because we like to do what we want. We want to do what we want, when we want, how we want. Nobody likes rules. But if we lived in a society where everybody just do what they want when they feel like, imagine what sort of society it would be. Y'all following the shootout in Jamaica yesterday? Yeah, no, abang away. With the man that shot one Eggman. The Eggman price was $1,200. And he had 1,000, and the Eggman maybe tell him go whatever he mother and shoot him, turn around and shoot 2 other people on the way because they probably threat him at some point. So all of that translates into us being disciplined and building character. Rules may not always feel fair, but they build character, equality, and discipline. And which is what education is truly about. If you were to look deeper into it, that is what education is all about. Building character, equality, and discipline. And if we don't have that, and I mean, just look at where we are at this point in time. So imagine where we don't have that at all. I check it out for myself, because it's gonna get crazier. So I understand parents all for their children being whatever, but I can't see as a parent being against something where it's trying to instill some sort of discipline, because not everybody will be self-employed where you could put on what you want, when you want, how you want. Companies have rules. Imagine big as you are as an adult. You could go in the police force and go in a short pants and your home clothes. You have to wear a uniform. There are companies who provide uniform for their staff. Would you say, I don't want to work because it's a uniform, I don't want to wear uniform? There are places you are left to wear your own clothing, but at the same time, you are still governed by certain rules. A professional setting requires professional wear. If it's a more casual setting, you adapt to suit. But all that stems from, if it's instilled in you from early, it's easy to transition as you get older. But if you don't know anything from young, when you get older, that's always say, bend the tree while it's young. When you turn big and gray, you don't want nobody tell you nothing, because as far as you're concerned, you go through your whole life, your whole childhood, nobody telling you what to do, how to do. And now you turn big man and woman, you come in people's workplace and they want to tell you to put on uniform. They want to tell you have to put on tie in your neck, you have to put on long sleeve shirt, or you have to put on dress below your knee and all sorts of things. How do you get to that point if you don't have it from young? That is a question. So, y'all, continue discussing amongst yourselves. The conversation continues. It's also on my page if you feel like chiming in. Like I said, we live in a democracy, so you don't have to agree. You feel free to disagree, but you can add why you disagree, and we respect each other's views. Yeah? Drea says, school has rules, and my child would follow them. Like it or not, she would follow them. Yeah, and that is what parents should encourage their children to do. I'm sure you have rules in your house. You're not free for all. People just, child walking in and out doing what they want, how they want, when they want. I'm sure you have rules. So the same rules that you have in your house, I'm not sure why we have a problem with it being applied in a school setting. But to each his own. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with the final one for the week. Thanks so much for your input. And of course, Shani Jean, good morning. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. For chiming in, and thank you so much, Nirvana, Beacon Insurance, Western Union, for being part of the conversation this morning. And I shall see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. So feel free to chime in and continue the conversation here, or join my Facebook page. All right, it's public, so feel free to join in. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.